Hey, good morning, guys. It is June 14th, and Chambers is in John 15, and it's the "Abide in Me." I think that's the King James version, "Abide in Me." That's how I learned it as a kid. NIV says, "Remain in me, and I will remain in you." I don't think that captures it. I don't from what I know from other translations, the abide seems to be more of a have more depth to it than remain. Remain in me just seems like, okay, stay here. So I'm gonna refer to it in well, it says, "Abide in me, and I will abide in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself; it must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me or abide in me." And so, bearing fruit not only not only requires us to stay connected to the vine, um, but it also, the way that Chambers is talking about it, requires a little bit of how he defines abide. Abide is more of a resting in, really kind of settling in the ways of God. So he says in this first paragraph, God will not make me think like Jesus. Not only, okay, thinking, settling, kind of being in the ways of God, not just the mind of God, the ways of God, the tempo of God, I would say, the kind of the rhythm of God. God will not make me think like Jesus. I have to do it myself. I have to bring every thought into captivity to the obedience of Christ. So abiding in him means thinking like him, and Chambers is challenging us. That is something that we have to do. God does not force himself on us and his thoughts on us. We have to take our thoughts captive. And then he talks about preventing God from doing what he wants to do. And I like this part of the second paragraph where he says, "With our Lord, the inner abiding was unsullied." So if we look at the life of Jesus and how it seemingly kind of meandered about, going this way and that way. If you look at, it's funny, if you look at the Gospels and you think about where Jesus went and what he did, it's all, you could almost just, like, Jesus was just walking around from town to town, um, and you could, if you're not careful, you could think it aimless, and it's the exact opposite. Um, he was abiding in kind of this, like I said, the rhythm or the direction, um, the flow, the flow of God. I think the flow is the right word. I'm sorry, I've been searching for a word. I had this. I almost wrote it down and in a prose piece, and I think I will, called "The River." And one time, I had this vision. I don't know where I was sitting somewhere, and I had this vision of a river, and from a distance you couldn't see it, but you could hear it, and people were intrigued by it, so they kind of were drawn to it. And I'm sorry, this is gonna take a minute or two. Um, as they approached, more and more people loved the sound of it. They liked the sound of the rushing water, and so they stayed at that distance where they could hear it, and that was really pleasant to them. And then as you got closer, it was less people, but people that wanted to see it and hear it. And that was, for some people, that was a little bit, seeing the river was a little scary, because it was so powerful, and it was moving things along. And but for many, that was very settling to them to hear it and to be able to see it. Some moved down to the edge, right where it would just lap their feet, like they would feel it touch their feet as it went by, and that was to them very, very. I would say that was something that was exciting. The flow of the river past their feet as it touched them, and but stepping into it was a little freaky. And there were those that would wade into it, and as you saw, it was less and less and less and less people that waded in further and further and further. Because the deeper you got, the more you realized it was pulling and pushing, and it was going to, if you're not careful, um, huh, think about that word, cares, the cares, being full of cares. If you're not careful, it's going to take you up and take you somewhere. And so the real the real challenge is for us to wade so far into this flow, into this river, that at some point we get so deep that we can no longer resist. It picks us up and carries us to some place we haven't been. And we know we can never come back here. It carries us. This flow of this river is so powerful, but it takes, some people just stay back at the edge, or they stay ankle deep, or they stay waist deep where it feels a little exciting, but they don't want to be moved. What it takes is for us to go further into the flow to the point where we can no longer hold the bottom, and it lifts us and takes us downstream. And that scares people. It scares me sometimes to think, where would God take me if I went further into this flow? I'm sorry I'm taking a while here. It is a Saturday morning, though. Well, this year it's a Saturday morning, but and I think that's what the abide in me is, kind of get into the flow, like settle in. And if you look at Jesus and you think of the way he acted and did and the places he went, a lot of times his disciples were like, hey, we need to do this, or we need to do that, or don't do that. But Jesus was kind of just in this flow of where God wanted him to go. All right. There is none of the, there's none of the serenity that a lot of times we build too much excitement into our life. There's none of the serenity of the life hid with Christ and God about us if we're not careful. And here's how Chambers ends it. Think of the things that take you out of abiding with Christ. Yes, Lord, just a minute. I've got to do this, or I've got this to do. Yes, I will abide when this is finished. When this week is over, it will be all right. I will abide then. And what I would say is settling in to the flow of God. And by the way, this is something that I'm not good at, because this is me. I have this to do. Okay, I'm going to abide once I'm finished. I've got this to do, that to do. And I think what God would say is, okay, listen, I'm the one moving. You're trying to move things. I mean, it's almost like the person, that instead of letting the river take them downstream is struggling to just do something themselves. And God says, just get into the flow. Get into the flow. Let me carry it. Let me carry you to a place you can only imagine. So anyway, sorry that went really long. I don't know if that was fruitful, but hopefully it was. You guys have a great day.